Here is a market review for October 20th, Friday. Once again, we had some more downside. If you watched the videos from what's been happening all week with that consolidation, see here, this is the week right here. This is what even had the higher low at the beginning of the week. Consolidation, and then we finally broke. And what do you do? This is what you want to be looking at. As I mentioned before, this is a critical area because anytime you have a consolidation and then breakout, this is usually an area of interest, at least what I've seen in the past. That fails, then you're playing back into this zone, and then now you want to be looking for your lows, which your lows is right there. Once that fails, then your next area would be, right here. So you just sort of look where the support and resistance in these zones are. But looking at the intraday, if you didn't know any technical analysis and you just stuck to the rules, what do? Okay, well, you had morning. You gapped down a little bit. It pushed into the so basically that means we opened in the box. So the box would be in between the bull and bear pivot. So here we opened and we hovered around here that first 15 minutes. We held it and then it shot up that first 15 minutes back up to the previous day close pivot. But you can see that line right there. That's why it was critical. That's why I was holding yesterday, consolidated above it, dropped below, came back up. And so that is also miraculously the same line that I was talking about on the 30-minute chart right here of the breakout. So that is an area of importance. So that is now considered resistance until proven otherwise. And sure enough, it was nice that we had this push up because now you just reload for the short. So if you short right there and you held all morning until 10:30, you would have had I think 250 points. So yeah, right there is actually about at 220 points. So not bad, especially if every point is worth $20 per contract. So that is the power of patience and getting in and just holding. But if you're going to play the wave, then you get in, and again, the rule is you are in a box until proven otherwise. So down here you go long again because you never know, they could actually push it back up and come back up here and then shoot it up. But because they actually broke it, and this is the next 30-minute candle, you see how this is the next 30-minute candle between 9 and 9:30, then this is where you would go short. And where would you target? Your target is the mid-level ATR, which is normally 100 points. So let's see how many points that is today. And that would be right at 102 points. So that actually happened within, if you had patience, about 15-20 minutes. And then once it blew through that, normally you got to start watching that time because now we're getting into the 10 o'clock. And I was expecting some kind of pullback from the fib pivot in between the mid ATR and the full -1 ATR. That's what this orange line is. You see how there's nothing else below it. On pivot wise, I would have to go in and I would have to specifically change the input to show extensions, and then you see how it will add extensions. Oh, now I just messed it up, and these are thicker lines. So so what's the rules again? So once we come in, it's about 10:30. 10:30 is when the European session closes. So usually volatility and the momentum starts to dwindle down. You've already almost made that full ATR move. So if it hasn't already made it by that 10:30, then much likely it will do it probably later on in the afternoon. So what does it do? Right at 10:30, it found the morning support, and then it shot up to VWAP, and then it came above this mid pivot. So you could have easily, if you missed all this, you could have gone long right here and then look for the push up. Now, granted, one would say, well, look, here's the high, here's the low. We're smack right in the middle. So this would be considered a half back. A lot of times you'll have a half back, half of a move before it starts reversing again. So right at noon, we didn't make new highs up here, but we also didn't make new lows. We're in the middle. So you have to sort of pick a direction. Are we going to keep squeezing up, or are we going to go back down? Well, I mean, if you look, we're on a trend day. I mean, we've eliminated all the support. And what's also critical is if you look, that's why I like playing 30-minute and multi-day pivots. You see how this was the previous week close. This is the bull pivot. This is the bear pivot. Yesterday we cracked that. I believe, yeah, this was yesterday. We cracked that. We came all the way down. Today we cracked the mid-range ATR, came down to the mid-range fib pivot, bounced off that, and look what miraculous we hit as resistance for the afternoon. That was the mid-level ATR. So that's where this is right here. So a lot of times I like to do is I like to draw. I know you start getting a lot of lines. So if you just eliminate all the other lines and the technical analysis and just focus on multi and intraday pivots, you can see. Remember, a multi, you're going to have a 20-point buffer between plus or minus 20 points. So it can go up and then come back down. On intraday, you're going to have 10 points of a buffer range, plus or minus. See right here, you had the -1 and then it reversed. Right here, it came up 10 points. Really, this was about, actually 10 points, and then came back down. You want to give yourself a zone to play with, with the major pivots, like a 10-point zone. So now that you see that is now resistance until proven otherwise, I love seeing higher lows, lower highs, because what that does is if you draw a line, draw a line. This is a trend. This is an intraday trend. And the moment it breaks, tells you that a trend is over with. A lot of times what will happen is it either breaks and then it could come back up and then retest. So this is like a double top off this is resistance. But what it ended up doing was it consolidated, it broke, and then it never came back up. You can see that the moment it came, if you missed this move at 1 o'clock Central Time, and remember these are 5-minute candles with a 30-minute overlay, you could have waited until it cracked below the mid ATR, and then you can see that it was resistance for the rest of the day. So the next 2 hours it held, and then it didn't make the final move and push to this, remember, 10-point range to the bottom. So this is super close. Then you sell. Plus, it's the end of the day. You never know. You could have like a reverse. So it tried to get there, but it ran out of juice. But that's how you play your morning session, and this is how you play your afternoon session. You have to stick with these rules at 12 or 12:30. What did we do? Did we make new highs at 12:30? Or are we continuing above some kind of pivot? I would have been more bullish if by 12 or 12:30 we were above the bear pivot. Remember, bear pivot means it's bearish. So anything below this, you want to be shorting. This is just a big pullback and another opportunity for you to get another 100+ points in the afternoon. I mean, this was a massive 225, probably 100 points up, then 100 points down. I mean, 400 points given. And that's why it's super important to just really trade with one contract and hold for multiple sessions. So sessions means like these 30-minute sessions. It might take, 3 or 4 30-minute candles, which is what? An hour to 2 hours, to make the full move. Or it might just take 2 30-minute sessions to make that 200 point move. So you have to look at this as a job and a business, and would you rather spend 8 hours at work, doing whatever job you're doing for an employee, or would you rather, spend the disciplined time to just hold your position for, 2 hours, and you can walk away. I do that because then it prevents me from selling. So I get in at those optimal positions, resistance, which would have been right here, afternoon rules, and then you just hold for the rest of the afternoon play. And if it would have stopped me out, okay, no big deal. Stops me out, I'm out a little bit of money, and then I move on. You set alerts. I would have set alert right here, and if it would have triggered it, then I knew that I would have been stopped out, and then I might come back to my chart and then decide if I want to get back into this play because I might already missed it because of the volatility. But if not, you just walk away and go enjoy life, ride a bike, go for a walk, and then come back, and miraculously you could have end up. I mean, even if you missed all that move, you could have came back and you would have had close to 75 points. Now here, once this made this move, you're starting to get into some exhaustion right here. You see how you're getting into lows. So most of the big move has already happened. These right here are more like scalp plays. But if you look in between here, that's 726. And right here, that's like 686. So that's like almost like 40 points. And that happened, I mean, a lot. I mean, this was like a lot of chops. So there's a ton of points right in here on scalping. But you had to recognize that. Getting in here, going short, possibly going long right here, selling. But take your points and move on. I mean, all you need is if you have a consistency of, say, $500 a day, how many points is that? That would only be, about 20 points you need. You just need 20 points a day. I mean, all of this right here, the market provided close to 400 points. So stick to rules, understand how the market moves, and at certain times when there possibly could just be reversals as like exhaustion, like pullback for then the continuation in the afternoon. Everything just doesn't happen instantly. So good luck next week. I don't know what the week's going to bring. Depends on how we gap up. But if you see, like right here, we are at a critical support area. There's nothing else below that. Like the only thing I have below there is you see this gray area is that is a gap that we had at the beginning of the year or something. So we can go all the way down there and then end up filling this gap, and this is not good. But if we end up recovering right here and gapping up, they might start the week with this. I extend this line always because it's proven to be helpful until this is disproven. Like right here, see how it's disproven? So they could actually come up and then gap up, and then they can shoot it up to here, and then later on the week they can come back down here. They can hold this area all week if they wanted to, and then you would have this big consolidation area. It's until you break above this 15,000 on NQ, this whole area, that you might have then a squeeze to the upside. But right now the trend is to the downside. Any push up, you're wanting to look to short. But again, we are intraday traders, day traders. So if you just stick to these pivot rules, where are you above, below in certain time frames, you'll be solid and take the little points that you can take, and as long as you're green and you're consistent, then you'll do real well. All right, good luck, and we will see you in the next video.